Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley.
And I'm Olivia Calfee.
Authorities in Atlanta are searching for a shooter who killed one person and injured at least 4 others in a medical building.
CBS's Nicole D'Antonio has the latest.
Police say 5 people were shot, 1 fatally, when gunfire broke out in a medical office in Midtown Atlanta. All of the victims are women. Authorities are searching for 24-year-old Dion Patterson.
This is a very active search. We are following up on credible leads that are currently active in Cobb County, as well as some that are right here in the city.
We are dealing with someone that is armed and dangerous.
Police released security camera images of the suspect in the building wearing dark pants, a hoodie, and a mask over the face.
My supervisor was right there at the time, and he was like, hey, make sure you stay close to the walls and stand back because we heard it's an active shooter.
Law enforcement swarmed the medical building as reports of a mass shooter came in.
We saw some cop cars coming up and people rushing into the building. They had some pretty heavy-duty gear, assault rifles and riot shields, things like that. And then more and more just kept showing up until the whole street was just flooded with police.
Authorities called the scene an active fluid situation as another mass shooting sends shockwaves through one of the largest cities in the Southeast. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre commented on the latest gun violence during today's briefing, saying the president is frustrated with what we're seeing in our communities and our schools and our churches.
After a 4-day manhunt, authorities have taken the man who's been accused of shooting and killing 5 people into custody. Authorities say Francisco Oropeza was uninjured and arrested without incident. The 38-year-old was found in a house in Cut and Shoot, Texas, just less than 20 miles away from the crime scene. Oropeza is accused of shooting 5 people, including a 9-year-old boy and his mother. Officials say the gunfire began shortly after neighbors had asked Oropeza to stop shooting his rifle in front of his house. Authorities say they are now trying to determine if anyone helped Oropeza hide in the days after the shooting.
Large groups of migrants are working their way towards the U.S. in anticipation of the end of a program that denied them entry because of the COVID pandemic. Now the Biden administration is taking steps to be ready when they reach the southern border. The Pentagon is temporarily deploying 1,500 soldiers and Marines to the southern border to help as migrants flow to the area in anticipation of the end of Title 42. The Trump administration began enforcing Title 42 3 years ago to help stem the spread of COVID. The rule makes it easier to expel migrants seeking asylum, but it is coming to an end next week.
In light of the changes on May 11th and the anticipated surge, DHS did reach out and request this support.
Customs and Border Patrol officials say as many as 10,000 migrants could cross the southern border every day, nearly doubling the daily average in March.
A much more sunny look to things all throughout the region today. You still see the sunshine working kind of in the distance there on our WYMT studio camera. Mid-50s out there, though. We haven't seen a ton of that bright sunshine helping temperatures a ton. But look at this, 57 as we still continue to see plenty of sunshine there along the Mountain Parkway at Slade. Low 60s in the portions of the Cumberland Valley where they've seen more sunshine today. Middle and even lower 50s across parts of the Big Sandy where the clouds have hung on a little bit longer. A couple of showers up near Charleston and east on I-64, but so far so good on first alert pinpoint downpour. But we turn the satellite on and you see what we've been dealing with those clouds, just scattered clouds working on through as we've gone through the afternoon and into the evening. So your forecast first through the evening, we'll drop those temperatures quickly into the 40s as we head toward midnight as we clear out on the way to a rather chilly Wednesday night and early Thursday morning. I'll have the very latest on the potential for a few more showers trying to work in just a few minutes, guys.
Evan, thank you. McDonald's says it is deeply troubling to learn children as young as 10 years old were working in some restaurants here in Kentucky. A Labor Department investigation into 3 franchises in Louisville found 305 children worked more hours than legally permitted or performed tasks not allowed for young workers. One company, Bauer Food, employed 2 10-year-olds but did not pay them Investigators say they sometimes worked as late as 2 a.m. One of those 10-year-olds was also allowed to operate a deep fryer, which is prohibited for workers younger than 16. The total fines for the 3 franchises, more than $212,000.
President Biden is nominating 4 judges to federal district courts. The new round of nominations include Lauren L. Alican for the District of Columbia, Susan K. DeClercq for the Eastern District of Michigan, Julia K. Munley for the Middle District of Pennsylvania, and Vernon D. Oliver for the District of Connecticut. The process to fill judicial vacancies has slowed down, in part to Senator Dianne Feinstein's 2-month absence. In an effort to fill these vacancies, the White House is reaching out to senators on both sides of the aisle.
Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has slammed GOP House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's debt limit package once again. Increasing the debt limit allows the U.S. to pay for expenses it has already incurred, but it does not mean new spending. Schumer reiterated there must be a clean debt ceiling bill without unrelated conditions tied into the bill. Republicans want Democrats and the White House to agree to spending cuts as part of the deal. If Congress and the White House do not raise the debt ceiling soon, America risks defaulting on its financial obligations in June for the first time ever.
Our view about the path forward remains the same. Can't choose the Default on America Act, must avoid the horrors of default, pass a clean bipartisan bill to avert default.
The House narrowly passed the Republican debt ceiling bill last week along party lines. It has no chance of passing in the Democratic-controlled Senate, and President Biden opposes it.
Kentucky Senior Senator Mitch McConnell gave his response on the Senate floor today about the looming debt ceiling deadline. McConnell criticized President Biden, saying he refuses to negotiate with the House Speaker to avoid a default. McConnell says that the president and his administration have been MIA on the matter.
His own administration says our nation is only weeks away from a debt crisis. But there has been a total absence of presidential leadership. President Biden has simply been MIA. First, the president said,
McConnell's remarks come after President Biden decided to invite top congressional leadership to the White House next week to discuss the debt ceiling. McConnell has said he would attend, but insists negotiations must happen between Speaker McCarthy and President Biden.
You have likely seen ads about the Camp Lejeune class action lawsuit for military veterans and their families exposed to tainted water at the base. Now experts say scammers are trying to take advantage of the exposure the case is getting.
In this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Carice Jackman spoke with the Better Business Bureau about how you can spot the rising phishing scam and where to find accurate information.
We're so used to it happening to more vulnerable and elderly people, but now it's happening, with younger people.
Kedra O'Neill understands how damaging fraud can be after falling victim to identity theft a few years ago.
They're getting very smart with their ways of, conning people.
So when this email recently showed up in her inbox saying she was eligible for compensation at Camp Lejeune, a Marine base hundreds of miles away from her home, she knew it was a fake.
They were saying that I won money out of a settlement. I was included in a class action lawsuit. And I'm like, how was my name being pulled in a class action lawsuit? Like, it was ridiculous.
O'Neill says she never even served in the Marines. She told the scammer to leave her alone. But the emails continued, with the fraudster asking for her personal information.
I feel like for you to toy with people's emotions is very disrespectful and unwarranted. And I really think that they should, be prosecuted to the fullest extent.
And according to the BBB, O'Neill wasn't the only person receiving these phony emails from scammers looking to capitalize on a legitimate legal case.
Scammers have latched onto legitimate operations, legitimate opportunities, and weaponize them.
Josh Planos with the Better Business Bureau says oftentimes these emails contain a link that, if clicked, will download malware onto your device. In other cases, scammers may direct you to a malicious website that asks for your personal information or an upfront fee before you receive your money. Plano says if you've served in the Marines at Camp Lejeune during a certain time period, you are eligible for compensation. But this random email is not the way you'll get it.
If you are going to pursue a class action lawsuit, or if you're going to pursue any sort of payout opportunity, you should apply through its official channel if you feel that you are deserving of compensation.
That official channel is va.gov/Camp Lejeune. Plano's also says compensation in class action lawsuits often take time. So if someone offers you a quick settlement, don't believe it.
Anytime you receive unsolicited communication, ask yourself why you are receiving it before you move forward in any way, shape, or form.
O'Neill hopes by speaking out, others will know not to fall for this settlement scheme.
Don't just block the calls like I did. Honey, contact the FTC, FCC, Better Business Bureau, because the more times that they're reported, the better that they can get a handle on this.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
We reached out to the VA for additional tips and information about the Camp Lejeune settlement. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30,